Hi, my name is Andrew Maston. I'm the Director of Operations at ID Prospects. Right now we're looking at our player search function. It can be found on our website id-prospects.com. Click on this button, Recruit Finder, and it'll take you to this page right here. So what we're looking at now is 70 players born in 2001. This is just kind of a sample to give you an idea of what our search function will look like. As you can see, this is only the non-subscribers page we're looking at. A subscriber will see our full database of players, which includes hundreds of guys born 2002 through 2006. I think 2007 very soon. I think just 2006 at the moment. This is just to give you an idea of how to use our skills filter, and I kind of want to show you the way that we think it's really valuable and how to maximize your effectiveness using it. So you kind of have to have a player in mind you're looking for. If you go through each player individually, you can find out what that player is. But if you have a player in mind you're looking for, this is really, really useful. So I'm gonna look for a big man. I like to sort by rating. It's really personal preference. So let's go 6'8", and then interior scoring is kind of our post offense, dunker spot offense, a little bit of like roll man. It's really what you expect a big man to do on offense. So we're gonna choose versatile finisher here. So now we have 14 players, and that's 20% of our database is 6'8" or above and a versatile finisher is what that means. And with these skills, if a player is an interior self-creator, which is kind of our top level of interior scorer, then if a player is included, if you search for versatile finisher, you will find an interior self-creator also, basically, right? So if a player is an interior self-creator, they're obviously going to be a versatile finisher also, because interior self-creator is kind of that next level. So we have 14 players that qualify as one of those two under 6'8". So at that point you're still, that's a lot of players to look through. So you want to narrow it down a little bit more. What I would say maybe is add spot up shooting, just because shooting is always valuable no matter what. So now you're down to 5 players. So it's a little bit more manageable. Obviously, this is out of 70, so when the database is a little bit bigger, you'll want to maybe narrow it down a little bit more. But out of 70, what you can do here is say, okay, let's be a little more greedy. Let's go 6'10" or above. Obviously, you could just look over and see the height, but for the sake of the skills filter, 6'10" or above, and that's when you get your player. And at this point, you have his whole profile. The one thing I'll say is that you have to be a subscriber to read intel. Just because there's some information that's not necessarily public, some contact information that we don't want to get out for certain people. So that's mostly going to be what that is included there. Sometimes, usually social media, no matter what, but generally we try to have some kind of contact information for a coach or for somebody around the player or something, and then kind of what their plans are, what class they're in, and everything like that. So yeah, that's a profile. That's what that looks like, but let's look for another kind of player. So 6'5" shooter, again, just kind of, again, these add up. So, if you're looking for a versatile shooter, you're going to get a spot up shooter too, because a versatile shooter is going to be a guy who can make spot up shots, but he can shoot a little bit off movement, sometimes off the dribble. An all-around shooter is just going to be the elite shooter, top level shooter. If you're looking for a spot up shooter, and it'll pull the all-around shooters, because those guys can also make spot up shots. If they couldn't, they wouldn't be an all-around shooter. So like I said, these add up. So we'll go 6'5", versatile shooter. Again, we have 16 guys here, so there's really a lot of narrowing down to do, because this is the smaller version of the database. So the next thing I'll add is I'll add a couple. Mismatch driver, and you can read it and you can get familiar with these as you start to work with it more, but it's really just somebody who can take advantage of a situation, like, for example, like obviously a mismatch, they get put on a slower player or something, but then also a pick and roll, they find advantage situations, or in this case, we're looking at shooters, so maybe it's it's a hard closeout that they can drive by. Obviously they're not advantage creators, because they aren't able to, out of nowhere, just kind of create that advantage. But if they do get a chance with an advantage, they're going to make the most of it. And then we'll go to 2. Let's go to secondary initiator also, which is mostly self-explanatory. You can read about it here. He's not the guy bringing the ball up the court most of the time, but he can make plays for others, work within the team. So let's go. With those 2, we get from 16 to 3. So now you have your short list of guys that you really want to watch. You can click on their profile, kind of figure out more about them, and that's how you get to find your guys really that you want to spend more time on, instead of we want the top 20 shooting guards, and then find the guys that from that list fit your team. You already know because you search for the guys that fit your team, and I think that's really the most useful part about this is you can go from a long list to really the guys that you think fit and would fit in, you would be able to develop, anything like that. Whatever you're looking for, you can find that with this search. So another way, maybe you have an offense that relies on cutting. You need guys that can move off the ball, that can play well in a team concept, and that kind of thing. You have a lot of cutting in your offense. So I took out secondary initiator, adding in cutter, and now we have another player here. And I think this is a really good player. Nikos Rokopopoulos would have been probably, let's see. So he's rated number 4 in the 2001 generation now, but I think, he would have been 10 to 15 if it was a couple years ago. 4 guys from that generation are in the NBA now. There's a few playing in college that would have been above him. So really good player, great shooter at 6'8". So, I think if he had decided to go the college route, he would have been a great gift for, pretty much any school. And I think that's what the 10 to 15 range usually gives you, is any school should get this guy a lot of times. Every generation is different. But I think a 4-star guy is a guy who's going to be able to contribute to nearly any school. But like I said, our player search gets you players that will, not only their quality, tells you their quality, but also they'll work for you. And you can read more and see if it's a guy that you think does work for you, and you can watch some videos. It's not going to be long videos, just a couple clips usually, to kind of give you an idea of the player, what he looks like, so you've laid eyes on him, and kind of decide from there if it's a guy that you want to spend more time watching and really dive into his film. And occasionally we'll put links to full games that maybe the film is hard to find. You have to use a lot of Google Translate or kind of, talk to people to get that film. We'll put links to stuff like that if that's the case. But a guy like this, a lot of these players, it's pretty, you can just look it up wherever and find their film on any kind of video service or anything. So, we try to put all that information in there. But obviously, like I said, for these guys, the 2001, the intel is going to be kept private because for a lot of different reasons, but and also for some of these 2001 guys, honestly, these guys are already pro, so there's not we didn't do a ton of background on them. We found out they have a contract, and that's kind of it. But for 2002 through 2006, the guys you'll see behind, if you click on this button as a subscriber, you'll see everything that we would have just seen, plus a lot more players. I don't know the exact number because we're adding more every day. It'll change, in the next couple hours, I'm sure. But you'll see a lot more players in that case. But those guys, those 2002 through 2006 guys, are really the ones who have, a lot more information, a lot more background, and then usually a lot more clips. But in general, it's just going to be, those are the guys who colleges should be focusing on. But I think, like I said, this whole page is public. If you want to check it out just for fun, you're not even a basketball coach. You just want to look through it and kind of mess with it a little bit. Feel free. Everything right here is public that we just did, and we really think that it's one of the best ways to kind of narrow down a search for a player that you want to recruit, or just a player that you want to watch. You find the kind of player that you are interested in watching, and look that player up on here, and I think you'll come up with some good results of some young players that. Not necessarily NBA level, but a couple of them are. Marcelo, for example. So I'll put the link wherever this video is posted. I'll put contact information for Ignacio and myself. Feel free to reach out with any questions, comments, feedback, whatever. I'll put the link to this, obviously, and then hopefully you visit and see what this can do, see what you can do with it, the players you can find. Appreciate you watching, and I hope that you'll visit.